What's on the agenda today?
I'm going to work on this. Can you go over and we need to get the FLA sheet pan done, and then we got to get a new mold for that thing, or start the mold at least, and then tomorrow we're going to do the Dynasty. Yeah, grab the clear plastic so we can start patterning out all the door panels on this thing. If you want to know something real cool, if you actually follow our videos, last year we did an interior for the same customer's Rat Rod Chevy truck. It's real cool. If you haven't seen that video, you should definitely check it out. It's a blown flathead, real cool stuff. This Model A, we're actually going to get going and start patterning out to make a custom interior. We're doing just door panels, quarter panels, and a custom seat. Our customer actually wants to keep the carpet, no carpet. He just wants to keep raw metal on the floor and kind of keep a rough look, but he does want a cool, comfortable seat with some nice panels. One of the things that we're doing is we're actually making door panels, and we're making a seat for it, quarter panels. We figured we kind of show you how to make a template so that you at home could actually make a template, send it to us, or a pattern, and then we could actually make an interior kit for you. A lot of times we'll have a generalized kit for like a Model A, a Model T, the Roadsters, the Coupes, and all that. But for some people that are building a high-end show car or want it really just done right, this will kind of show you a way that you could actually make a pattern so it fits your vehicle specific. This way, when you get a panel, it looks like a high-end show interior. First I'm gonna do is we're gonna actually grab Randy out of the body shop, because he is going to, well, hopefully he doesn't do this, so maybe he'll ask a lot of questions that you might have, and it can help you to learn what we're doing, because you know, when you do this for a long time, you kind of overlook a lot of the basic stuff. While we're waiting for Randy, I'm going to show you how we normally do it. He actually had already asked me a question previously, which kind of ruined it. Normally what we'll do is we'll take a piece of tape and we'll run it all the way around, roughly where we're going to want to put our pins that are going to hold it in, because we're going to make this door panel what they call blind. So this means there's fasteners that pop in like a new vehicle. We're not going to use screws all around it. You can do that, it makes the job a lot easier, but it's still a good idea to actually pay attention, feel behind the door, know exactly where you're going to screw it into, because you don't want to screw it into a window mechanism if there's electrical wires or anything like that, or go through an outer panel. So normally we go through here, and then we put our pattern material on, make our pattern, and we can transfer the marks that we mark from where we want our pins into that plastic. This vehicle already happens to have holes marked where the door panels are going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our clear plastic and mark these holes out for push pins. I'm just going to take some tape now, and I'm going to put it through some of the holes in here so that we could actually stick our patterning material to it so it stays in place. I can't stick it on the body here because whoever patinaed this, the material comes off really easy, so we have to be very careful. Got this rough tape. Now Randy's here with the clear plastic. So we're going to take this. Normally we use a thicker clear plastic, but because of Corona, no one had it in stock locally, so we are using this. And I also went through and put a couple holes in here so I can put some tape on here as well. This is to hold it in place in an area where we know it's not going to interfere with it. These are the push pins that we're using for this one. I like them because they have a flat head. We're actually going to take our 1/8 inch Luan, push this through it, and then put another piece of 1/8 inch on there so the panel will be blind, which you'll get to see. Now that we have this pattern material iron, you could actually, everything is completely visible. All of our hole locations that we want to fasten these to. We're going to go through and mark all those out. We're going to mark all of our edges. One thing to keep in mind, a lot of times you'll be able to take the door panel and snake it up underneath the original panel, which is good. This one actually does not have an opening for us to slide through. And also with this style door latch, you'd have to kind of come down lower and then slide it up. There's a little bit of the pain. So we're going to actually make this panel snap in all the way around. We're going to slide it over the door and push it in. You can see here, I'm going to hold this door from hitting the actual body or the exhaust. Randy just brought that up, which is kind of a common thing that we do. Before, when we make the panel, we're actually make a strap that straps this door to the inner kick panel. Before that, you can push a lot of these hot rod doors right into the exhaust. You want to be really careful not to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to mark all of our holes where we want them. we're gonna go through and we're gonna mark where we want our door panel to actually go. So this is gonna be the end of the door panel. I like to rough it out. And then I'm gonna come back in with 3/4 inch tape. So I kind of rough out where I want it. I'll come with the 3/4 inch tape, and this is gonna give me a little bit of a nicer edge. Radius to go by for that door.
We should have arrows too, correct? So we make sure we remember where to cut.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Whenever you're doing your templating, usually we'll always put top. You'll see we put right door, passenger, 30 Model A Roadster. You'll put bottom. You'll put rear, and then front. So when you send it to us, or to whoever you send it to, it'll be clearly labeled, you know, what's what. Also, if you wanted to put any specific graphics, like if you wanted a smooth section up top here with a pleated section on the bottom, you could put a line through here where you want it, and then put pleat start or something like that on there for below, but I'm not gonna put that in here because we're not doing that. Another thing to take into consideration is, actually I'll show you on this side of the car. Some vehicles utilize wind lacing or welt cord. And the reason that the older cars would have that is this would sit right here, and this would actually cut up the gaps where your rubber would normally seal your newer car to get any wind noise or moisture or rain or anything that come through here. A lot of hot rods, instead of using the wind lace type style, they'll use like a really thin welt cord too. The reason this is important, so if we're making a panel and we want that panel to end right at the edge of here, and this panel to end right at the edge of here with no welting, your template should be exactly where you want it. Now, if you need to use welting or wind lace, you're gonna let us know, and then we could take your pattern and move it in enough and adjust it so that your panel actually fits on there, because your panel's gonna wanna sit right inside this groove here. If you're not gonna use the wind lace, this measurement is also super critical, because for look-wise, you wanna make sure that this panel and this panel have the exact same profile and run up there. They also have to fit the body perfectly as well, because if you have a straight panel and the body's wavy, it's not gonna look good. One other thing to look at as well when you're making your door panel, which I'm gonna show you on that door panel again. So if you're looking at this, you can see down there, you see how there's like light down there? You can also see the floor. Some cars, this floor piece actually comes right to the door panel. That's a very critical measurement, because if you make a door panel too thick and this metal's here, it's not gonna be able to shut. Now you can see on this one here, way down the bottom, I don't know if you can see that where my finger is, it actually is a step. It comes down and then back out again. That step is fairly close, but it's not touching the door. It's not gonna really be a problem for us. When you're building your door panels, you have a few options. Like we were saying before, you could have the door panel come right to the edge of this panel, because every vehicle is different. Some have sharp edges, some have rounded edges. This car here, with the Model A, this actually has a nice reveal. We're gonna make it go inside this groove and follow this around. The hard part with doing this is on unpainted vehicles, if you do the panel up to here, like we're gonna do, you're gonna see this edge. I'm doing this because I know the customer is gonna paint this car. He says he's most likely gonna paint the thing full black, so I'm sure that they're gonna have a nice paint going around the edge. On some vehicles, if the outside's painted, the door jambs are messed up, and you put it here, you're gonna see this now when you shut the door. That's one thing to always keep in mind when you're making your paneling. Randy's yelling at me.
What is this?
This is an aftermarket door. It's probably a Brookfield body, I would imagine. Now, they're choose to use the original style latch on this to keep it period correct. If you went with like a mini bear claw latch, you'd actually have your latch mechanism in here. We're gonna go straight across here. You are gonna see this, but you're gonna see it no matter what. This kind of goes against whoever's doing the body work and metal work. They'd have to weld this in at that point to make it look more period correct to keep the original latch up top. Now I'm just going through and marking exactly where I want. Panel, we're gonna cut out around the latch here. Now when you cut out around a latch or any area that's really critical, you wanna make sure you do a note there. You'll write something down, you'll put a little arrow to it. This way we know if you cut it out exact to that latch, we'll actually compensate for the material that we're using and make sure that you have enough room for that. On a latch, you're always better off having a little more than less room, just so you don't bind up with that door. Also, you're gonna have to mark where this latch is gonna articulate for this one. So we're gonna mark right around here. This is all gonna get cut out. This way the door latch could actually open. Okay, so one other thing that I almost forgot to mention is One, I'm marking, I cut out a hole, like a guess hole where this is gonna go. So now I'm gonna just put tape over that hole so I know it doesn't have to be cut out. When you send in your patterns, you should always do that and label it as well. Also, a lot of people will just automatically make this door panel and send it in and think they could use it for both doors. You can never do that. Very rarely on a vehicle are the doors symmetrical and quarter panels. So always make a pattern for each side and label them so we know which is what. You always wanna label, this is the vinyl side or material side. And if you want, you can flip it around and say back side, front side, all that, just so we know when we're making these. Obviously, if it's a driver side door panel and the latch is in the front, then we know where what goes usually, but some people with their custom cars put things in different areas, so it's nice to kind of know what to do. Okay, so you think you got this? You ready to do the other one yourself?
Sure.
Okay, so you do that one, and then that'll be like the true test of if you have any questions, and we'll kind of go, we'll use that.
So this is what it's like at Atomic. Ed comes over, says, yeah, you got it, right? And you're like, yeah, I think. And by the time you say, I think, he's already gone. Putting some last minute labels in.
Are you playing tic-tac-toe?
No, I was gonna cut a hole there so I could put a piece of tape here so I could hold the panel to it, but I decided to do it here where nothing would be obstructed. Up here I have the handle. I have a hole right here, so I didn't want to be anywhere near that. Plus this big divot, and I didn't want to pull the panel, the piece of plastic into the panel, because that'll mess up our form.
All the weird noises. Okay, so next step, we are going to actually cut out the door panels out of wood. We're using 1/8" Luan, like I said before. We're gonna show you how we do that. And so stick around for the next video because this one took way too long and we don't want to bore you to death, but I think it's the Corona.
It's definitely.
It's either the Corona or talking too much early in the morning. I think, yeah, he gave us the Corona. Oh, 6 feet away. Yeah. Yeah, it's about 6 feet. Okay, time to go to work. We're safe.